Hello and welcome to Northside Now. This, of course, is the podcast where we take you on a tour of all the ministries and latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin, and I'm the only one here right now. Where'd everybody go? Actually, it was a special week. Patrick and I got to go to a church conference in Colorado, and while we were gone, Glenn recorded a very special interview that we're excited to bring to you. He sat down with Emmanuel Pius from Tanzania in Africa. Many of you probably have met Emmanuel. He was here at Northside Church, and we wanted to have a little bit more of a conversation with him. And so Glenn got a chance to sit down with Emmanuel and Pastor Daphne, actually. So we wanted to bring you that interview, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. So let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, we're here with Emmanuel Pius, right?
Yes.
So what would I would say, caribou?
Yeah, karibu means welcome.
Yes, in Swahili, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Daphne is with us as well.
Hello.
And we're recording this interview. The guys are off in Colorado. They say they're at a conference. Do you believe they're at a conference? Yeah, see, that's the same thing I did.
At the conference.
I giggled too. But we're so glad that you're here, Emmanuel. Welcome to Northside.
Thank you so much. I feel being at home.
Yeah. You've been here for several days now.
Yeah.
And you've been in the United States for what, 2 weeks or so?
So almost, this is like my second week now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what are your impressions of the United States? Your first time ever to the United States?
This is my first time.
Cool.
And United States is so beautiful, very clean, very, very clean. And there are some stuffs that I have seen here. Mm-hmm. I don't see them in Africa. One of them is being like, there is clean water in the state, like in the bathrooms, in the kitchen, like the water is so clean. And then I don't see people walking around the street as we do back in Africa. I don't hear the honking of car horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, beggars, like people begging in the street. I don't see that here. And I feel like people here are so busy and they move so quickly. They manage time more than what we do.
Which can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Sometimes we move too quickly and we miss whoever God's putting right in front of us.
Really, Mom?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And there's fewer motorcycles, right?
Yeah, and here a few motorcycles.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people around where you grew up had motorcycles, would be their family car.
Yeah, and here I didn't see like public buses, like the public transport.
There are some, but it's not the main transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have these big blue buses that go around.
Yeah. And like the houses here are so much organized. The roads are well paved.
Yeah.
More than in our country.
Yeah.
We still have a lot to do.
Not many roosters and chickens here either.
Yeah. And people don't have animals in their yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, a lot of them, they're pets. They're not even like farm animals that we would eat or something like that. You know, you've run across that already.
Yeah. And like I went to Kerry Season's farm. They're just keeping ducks for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we don't have that in Tanzania. Back home, I keep chickens and ducks.
Yeah.
We use them for food. We kill them. We kill them for food.
But you don't want to, you don't want to, you name it quackers. You don't want to kill your favorite friend quackers to eat for Sunday dinner.
And one major different thing about America and Africa is that here people really take care of God's creation so seriously. Environmental conservation, like I have seen in people's, like around the people's houses, trees are well kept. And even animals, like cats and dogs, they are well treated. They are very healthy compared to my country.
That's true. That's true. So you were from Gamasara.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Angel House.
Yes.
And we've known you for a long time, Daphne. What did y'all say last night? 2011?
2011. Emmanuel was 14 years old the first time I laid eyes on him at the orphanage there, Angel House Orphanage.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up at Angel House.
So I am born in a polygamous family. Like my father is a polygamist, married to 6 wives.
All right, so polygamy, a lot. In case you're listening, you're young or something, you know what that means? That means that a man has multiple wives.
Yes, multiple wives.
He had 6 wives.
Yes, my father had 6 wives. Actually, he married 6 wives, and the one died, so there are now 5 wives.
Okay.
So he married 6 wives. So my mother is the 3rd wife.
Okay.
And I am the 7th child out of 8 children from my mom. So 6 wives from my dad. So, and every wife having more than 5 kids. We are many children.
Yes.
But with all of this like huge family, I am the only child who has been able to make it this far, like make it to university. Even try to speak the kind of English that I'm speaking in the entire of my family, just because of the support I get from Angel House and the support that I get from Northside for me to continue with school. And when I was a child, I was a very sick child. Like I used to urinate blood.
Oh, yeah.
And this led to sustained blood loss, frequent blood loss. So I was very sick. My parents tells me since when I was crawling, like when I was a baby, to 2003 when I was 8 years old. And that even led for me to start grade 1 at a very late age, 9 years old instead of 7 as per Tanzania education system. So my father used to keep cows, which is like one of the criterias for a man in my tribe, Kuria tribe, to look superior like a Superman. He has to meet like 3 criterias, like having many wives, many children, and many cows. All these criterias, my dad had met them.
Yeah.
So he used to keep lots of cows. So he was able to know that I am good in class, like in academics. He decided to transfer me from the government, the public school, to St. Jude Elementary School, which is like an English school.
Okay.
When I was in grade 3. So he used to sell cows to pay for my education at that elementary school. But in 2008, when I was in grade 5, all of his 290 cows were stolen by the cattle thieves. So being stolen by the cattle thieves, it was hard for me to continue being in that good elementary school. So my father asked me to go back to the government public school where the education in the village is not as good.
Sure.
But because of my performance in my national examination of grade 4, I was like the best student in Tarime district. The owner of St. Jude Elementary School decided to sponsor me all the way from grade 5 to grade 7.
Oh, wow.
So I graduated grade 7 in 2010. So that is the year that I met Anna Migera, Holly Hayroth, Elizabeth, and Eric Sword. Anna Migera was the supervisor of Angel House. Holly, Liz, and Eric were the volunteers at Angel House Orphanage. So I met them in 2010 when I was in grade 7. So them knowing my life story and with a recommendation from St. Jude, they decided to help me get education through the help of Angel House. So in 2011 is when I officially joined Angel House Orphanage. And that is my first, that is the year that the first mission team from Northside came to Angel House when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is the year that Mama Daphne told me I would be the preacher.
Well, it was so obvious from the very beginning, first time I ever saw Emmanuel, that not only was he the leader, it was obvious, he was the leader of all the kids. You know, they followed him. They looked to him, not only in the dance steps or the words of the songs that they were performing for us, but it was so obvious that he was the spiritual leader of all of the kids in the orphanage. Emmanuel was who they all looked to.
Yeah.
So I knew that God had amazing things in store for you.
Let's talk a little bit about your dad, because I got to meet your dad this past summer.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite conversations I've had in a long time. And we just sitting around, and I remember one time I asked him, I said, Now, you had 6 wives. And in the United States, all the women always have all these lists of things they want the men to do. And I asked him, I said, so how in the world do you get all these lists done? And he said, I am at the age that nobody tells me what to do.
Yes.
I loved it. I was like, I want to get there. I want to get to that age.
Yeah, and like that is how it is. Like, even when he was like a young man, he could not do dishes or do cooking or even help the baby take a bath.
Yeah.
He could not. Like, for our culture, men believe that cooking, washing dishes, taking care of like washing babies and all of that, this is like women's job.
Oh, wow.
Of which for me, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I believe in helping each other.
Yeah.
Home chores and all of that. It is helping each other.
Yeah.
You would be a good husband in the U.S. then.
Yeah. Because whether they believe in it or not, they don't always get around to doing it. Your dad also told me, I asked him, I said, if you could go back and redo things, would you just have one wife? And he told me, no, because if he did that, then he would never have you.
Yeah. Like, it is so funny. When I ask Dad, like, are you really enjoying like being a polygamist? Like, for now, at that age, he's now 82. And like, Daddy tell me, are you really enjoying being a polygamist? He regrets like why he did that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, Emmanuel, if I could not do that, how could I get you?
Yeah.
Like, how could I get a doctor in my family?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even when the mission team came in the village and you all left, he said, you see, I married your mother, is the 3rd wife. Who could bring white people in my home?
That's funny.
Yeah. But one of the things that really gives me strength is that he is really encouraging me just to marry one wife.
Yes.
Yeah. He's telling me to marry only one wife.
Yes, he is very proud of you. He's very proud of all of his kids, but he is very proud of you for sure. While we're talking about the topic a little bit of the way old things were done and the way things, we're going to talk a little bit more about new things and stuff in a little bit. One of the things you were telling us when we were there this past summer is that the older kids in the family will tend to move off and go make their own lives. Maybe they'll go to university or something like you did, or they'll go work, or they'll work in the local village. But the youngest kids stay there at the home and help take care of the parents. And they inherit the house. So talk about that a little bit, because I tried to explain this to my youngest daughter, and she's been married, and they moved somewhere anyway. They didn't stay at my house. So explain that tradition.
Oh yeah. So for our tribe, Kuria tribe in Tarime, is that when you have like children, are like you have boys, like you have boys in your family, all of the elder boys will just grow up. If it is education or working, they will get married and they have to move from their mother and their father, and they have to build a separate home of their own. So the lastborn male, is the one who is supposed to live with his parents. The parents can be moving around, like visiting other, like their kids. Yeah. But their main house is with the last-born male child. Wow. Yeah, like that is the culture. But for my family now, it is going to be different. I have our last-born is Michael, who is my young brother. He's the one who was supposed to stay with my parents. Like where we live now, it was like be like Michael's property. Like our original home. Yeah. But it is now going to turn around. Like my parents have told me I am the one going to stay with them because I have built for them a house with the help of Northside Church. So I am the one going to stay with my parents. Michael has to move. Oh, wow. To a different place.
Well, yeah. He's probably excited about that.
So much. So much.
Because where you live, your family has a really good large piece of land.
Oh, yeah.
great little village type setup with a wonderful corral, and you have like turkeys and rabbits and goats and chickens and ducks and a donkey.
A donkey named Carry Season.
That's a good name.
That is my donkey.
And then you were speaking last night at church in the chapel, and you mentioned something about a widow's inheritance or something like that.
Yes.
Explain that a little bit, because that was kind of new to me. I've heard a lot of the other old traditions and issues, but that was kind of the first time I've really heard that explained a little bit more. Can you explain what that is, what a widow's inheritance is?
So, for our tribe, widow's inheritance is one of the major, biggest poor cultural practice in my village. This is whereby like a brother inherits the wife of his dead brother. So if the husband die, the woman has no right to go back and decide to be married again. Like she has to stay there, and like the relatives of the husband have to decide the man who is to be in charge. To be in charge of that. And I can give you a perfect example that Northside can know about.
Yeah.
I have my nephew, is called Eunice Mgaya. She's being sponsored by Carry Season and Troy Season. So Eunice's mother, who is my really sister, her husband died in 2009. So I was in grade 6 by then, in 2009. So what they did is that they had to take her brother-in-law to be in charge of the Eunice's mother.
Okay.
Like to continue having more children from her brother-in-law. So we have been fighting against that all of that time. Like how we can avoid this.
Sure.
But I am so much grateful that 2 years back, I was able to take Eunice's mom to Mwanza and stop her from giving birth, because it is a burden. Like it is just giving children and they are not taking care of the kids. Yeah. So I decided to do that. And now the mother to Eunice cannot give birth anymore. And now she's having her own life.
Wow.
Yeah.
We talk to you about these kinds of things when we go on trips and stuff, and Anna's mentioned these things, and Daphne's been many times. I've only been a couple of times, and I'm coming again. So some of these old traditions and old customs have been a big part of the community of the villages and the upbringing that even you've had. But young people like yourself are really a big part of changing a lot of that.
Yes.
So a lot of those old customs are not as popular or being done as often as they used to be. So for instance, like polygamy, a lot of the young men and women are only marrying
one wife. Yeah, like you can see like the transformation that Gamasara Church is bringing in that community. Every young man who goes to Gamasara Church says, I am going to marry only one wife.
Wow.
I am not going to circumcise my girls, like female genital mutilation. Like all those young people, like in my Gamasara Church, everyone says, this is bad. We have learned this from our parents, from our grandparents. We are not going to do it. So young people like me, they are coming up now. They are now aware that this is harmful.
Yeah. Well, why do you think the young people are standing up now and saying, no, these things are not? Why didn't young people 2 generations ago and stand up? Why do you think it's now?
Number one big contribution that has led young people to stand and say no. Number one is religion.
Yes.
The church. Like some years back, churches have just come to Tarime like just very soon. Just imagining like 2011, Gamasara Church was like the 3rd church in the whole of that village of Gamasara.
Oh, wow.
So like religion coming to Tarime, coming to those villages, it has really transformed a lot of people. Teachings, preachings, young people attending seminars and workshops. Like it has really created some awareness on the kind of life we should really live. Another thing is education. A school like Gamasara, like the elementary school, regardless it is an elementary school, but even staffs who are working there, some are from the village, like the cooks, people who do cleaning, they are from the village.
Yeah.
So they get all these kinds of teachings.
Wow.
Yeah. Like we have to educate our young people on how to live.
Yeah.
And to avoid all these bad cultural practices. So education is coming up, and religion has really helped a lot.
That's encouraging.
I have seen that in an amazing way in the 12 years that I've been going to the village of Gamasara. The key is Christianity,
Yes,
and education. And those two have been going hand in hand. What I have seen over and over and over, one example is with female circumcision. The women and the men, they had no idea how harmful that was to the women. They did not know. No one had ever told them, because the knowledge was just not there, that it was why so many women were dying in childbirth, why women constantly have infections, why so many women died at an early age. They did not know that. So educating, they're such intelligent people in the village. But if they've never heard, they've never been told, there's no way that they know that that's harmful.
Sure.
They had no idea that every woman all over the world wasn't circumcised. So education is key. And so we have seen just that one example, the absolute transformation in not only the Gamasara village, but now in surrounding villages, because knowledge is power. And, they have so many beautiful, beautiful cultural practices that, I hope go on forever. But the ones that are harmful, that's where the education's coming in. The ones that are doing harm to individuals, especially to women and children. One of the other cultural practices that we've seen such a transformation on is men beating their wives. They did not know. I mean, they've never been told that that's not how Jesus wants you to treat your wife. But they know now. And so that there's transformation taking place there. They're not doing it.
And even when it comes to women empowerment, like even women being in leadership, having leadership positions. Like for so many years, our women back home, they were not being given opportunities to be leaders in the community. But look at what happened in Gamasara Church. Anna is now the pastor, and the men are so much proud of that. They really received her with like hugs, congratulations. Young men are so happy that we now have a female pastor. And like the church is getting full, it is growing. So,
and even one of the elders, Simeon maybe? Was that right? Simeon? One of the elders of the church.
Migera.
Migera. Said before Anna got there, when we were there, because she was traveling back, we were excited for Anna to be our pastor, and we are going to do everything we can to support her and make this work. And he was so excited that she was coming.
And look at Sarah. Sarah Sabai is the manager of Emmanuel King, the elementary school. And look at the great work that she's doing. She's now respected so much by the men in the community. And the school is growing. So such kind of positions, when they see women working and bringing transformation, men have to be silent and just let women be in leadership. Even now, there is even a great transformation at Angel Secondary School. The head mistress, like the top leader, the management top leader of the school, is a woman. So all of this in the village of Gamasara is a very big transformation.
Wow, that's wonderful. Now, you are a medical student in your third year, right?
Yes.
And you are going to become a doctor, and that's your goal and what you feel like you've been called to do, at least one of those things.
Yes.
And so tell us your plans. Tell us your plans when you get finished with medical school. What are your plans?
So my plans after graduating medical school, after I'm done with like general practitioner, like bachelor's degree of medicine, my goal is to specialize in pediatrics and child health. And my vision is to go back to my village. Like in my heart, I am not comfortable like working in Dar es Salaam. I know it is a big city. Once I graduate, there are all kinds of job opportunities, especially being a doctor. There are big hospitals that I have already done medical camps with these hospitals, and they will like me to work for them.
Sure.
But my desire and what is in my heart is going back to my village and start a medical clinic. And this clinic is to help women, especially pregnant women and children, like to do reproductive child health. For women to have good health, especially when they are pregnant and after delivery, which is a big challenge back home. Like as I shared last night, I witnessed 2 events of women delivering at home. And these women are my own relatives.
Oh, wow.
And like, you can imagine in that village that you all visited, like women delivering at home, no sterilization, like there is no, like it is just horrible.
Yeah.
And then I witnessed it 3 times, women delivering on their way to hospital. This is when I was in high school. On their way to hospital, they were walking and they could not make it. Yeah. And with our roads, you all saw the kind of roads that are in my village. Even like you cannot put them on a motorcycle. Even when you have a car, like even driving on those roads, it is just horrible. Another challenge is like children. Malnutrition is very, very common. So building a medical clinic in my own village, I believe it will help. It will really help transform all these challenges. And also one of the things that I want my medical clinic do is to really educate people on the negative effects such as female genital mutilation, early and forced marriages, widows' inheritance, how all this affects the health of a human. Polygamists. We now have very many diseases that are being transmitted by people, like HIV. So if we are a polygamist and one wife is infected with HIV, likely it is the whole family is going to be infected with HIV. So yeah, my clinic will also address all these issues. And the other thing it will provide counseling. What I believe is that not everyone who comes to the hospital is having a disease, like an infection. Others are stressed up, others are just depressed, and they just need someone to counsel them, to encourage them, just to walk with them. So it will provide some kind of counseling.
And there is no such clinic like he's describing anywhere close to the village or this whole area of Tanzania. So it is very much needed.
Yeah, and the last thing I'd like to try to do is convince a woman who's in the process of having a baby to jump on a motorcycle and ride 20 miles up the road on a bumpy road. You know,
one of our visits there, a woman up the village was at a conference that we were holding there at the church in Gamasara. And she was in labor all day long, and we didn't know it. And at the end of the day, she left the conference a little bit early and walked down the front steps of the sanctuary and across the dirt road and gave birth right there.
Esther?
Yeah. And then she sent word that she wanted the team to name her baby. So we got to name that precious little baby Tuamini, which means hope in Swahili. So we've witnessed someone giving birth there in very, very unsanitary conditions.
Emmanuel, tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey. When did you decide to give your life to Jesus and follow Jesus?
Yeah. So being born in this huge polygamous family, when I was growing up, I just saw my sisters going once in a while to church. They're like the Catholic church, and they mainly go on like holidays, like on Christmas or Easter. So they were like, what I can say, like, they were just like churchgoers. But we did not live a Christian life. Like in this polygamist family, I have witnessed the huge conflicts, people not loving each other. And because of resources and all of that. So I really started knowing about Christ when my father took me to the English from private school, St. Jude Elementary School. Like the owner of the school had wonderful programs for kids, like at school. Like pastors could come and could teach us. We could be taken to the church every Sunday. So for me, I was called brother pastor like in grade 6 because when I became like the head prefect of the school, I told the management team of the elementary school that we can start having our own worship services at school rather than taking the buses every Sunday going to the church. We can have our own worship services and invite pastors to come at the school. And the owner of the school said that is a good idea.
I told you he was the spiritual leader.
Yes.
14.
Yes.
Yeah. So we created that, like the structure of worship, and we were inviting pastors to come to us and all of that. So my spiritual journey really began at like St. Jude Elementary School.
Wow.
So graduating in 2010 from grade 7 to Angel House in 2011, now like this is the time that I was in another level.
Oh, wow.
I was in another level. So at Angel Secondary School, I was elected to be the school chaplain. The first year of secondary school, Form 1, I was the school chaplain. And I started like working with Eric Sword when he was there. Mm-hmm. And like I was doing church planting as well. I was working with Gamasara Church, just started at Angel House. I was involving, so leading my fellow students in spiritual matters. And then from 2012, that is my second year of secondary school, to 2014, my fourth year of secondary school, I was the head prefect, like the top leader of the students' government. Mm-hmm. So still I led like spiritual issues in my school, and even now I was the leader in Gamasara Church. I was the leader in Tarime district. We started Tarime, UMC, like I was so much involved with the church. Like that is how my spiritual journey has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does worship mean to you? Because I know every time we take a team down, everybody always comes back and talks about how special the worship is when we go to church, or when we are just there and worship just kind of breaks out, you know? So how important is worship to you? I know how important it is to your family, but I'd like to hear how important worship is to you, your personal thoughts on that.
Yeah, like for me, worship has been like the source of transformation for my own life and even the life of my family. Mm. Even like when we get to, like that is the moment that you can really see even God working in our own lives. Like during even when we meet together and having fellowship and worshiping together. So that is the moment that I see like God is really working in our life. And even it is the time to be together with each other. Even if we are in distance, worship brings us together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you attend Northside every Sunday, sometimes twice for both services.
Yeah, sometimes I attend both services for Northside. So like even when we are at distance, worship brings us together.
Yes.
Yeah. Through screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Writing each other. Worship brings us together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even 8,000 miles away.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if everybody knows exactly what we're talking about, but Emmanuel does attend here at Northside every Sunday on the online version, which is just a live stream of what we're doing. And when he came to the church this week, he said, I didn't realize how big the sanctuary was. I'd only seen it from this point forward, and he didn't know how far back it went.
Yeah.
But you are so faithful to attend to that because we're worshiping. You've already worshiped in person at your church there, and it's even getting later in the day. You may be even thinking about taking a nap or doing, going to bed or doing your homework and doing your studies. But yet you take time to attend the church services.
Yeah. And like, if I don't even do it in my own room, when it happens that I am in school, like in school cafeterias, and I start watching the Northside worship service online, there are some points I do watch with my fellow students.
Now, we didn't know that.
Yeah, they come. And we are there, and I tell them this is the church that is sponsoring me at this university.
Wow. And what do they think of our worship services?
Like, one of the amazing worship service that I got to worship together with my fellow students watching the Northside was Kandanda. Like there was this singing, like it was like this
cantata.
Yes,
in December.
Yes, in December.
Christmas cantata.
Oh, I am telling you, they were like, Emmanuel, this is the worship service. Like this kind of music and all of that is what we really need.
With the orchestra.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, do that again in December.
December 17th,
I will
18th.
Really, I will tell them to watch it again.
Yes.
So one of my friends keep on saying like our worship is too noisy. It is too noisy. Like our worship, our instruments and the speakers, they are too loud, which is true. Like the worship at Northside is so smooth. Like you can hear the lyrics. the instruments, like no noise.
Yeah.
And it was really moving. Yeah. And we love that part that we see young kids, they just move. How do we call that, Mom?
The children's sermon time.
The
when
children's
children
sermon
come up
time.
front.
Yes. And then when like it is the opening of the worship service and the closing of the
the
worship
acolytes.
service. Yes. Like when
bring
they
the fire in and light the candles on
yes,
the altar.
like we really love that. We don't have that there.
Yeah, that's the representation of bringing the Holy Spirit into the service is what that
Wow.
represents.
Wow. Like that is so cool.
And then taking the Holy Spirit out before us to go with us. And that is very special. And we probably don't do as good a job of educating everybody on exactly what that means, but I love to hear that y'all see the specialness in it, because that is a very special
and there was
special
a day,
piece of worship.
Yeah, and there was a day I was watching with another fellow student, and we saw kids participating in the Holy Communion. They were holding,
serving the elements.
serving the elements. Oh, that was so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that does something to me for you to say that.
But I've worshiped in Gamasara many, many times, and you all know how to worship as well.
Yes, I believe so too.
Incredibly meaningful worship services. Now, you do a whole lot more dancing than we ever have thought about doing, but it's incredible.
Yeah, there's a few of us that might sway back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
But like Ben Fisher, he doesn't dance in church services here like he does in your church service.
Oh, Ben does so well. Gamasara. Ben knows so well.
He's a good dancer.
He's a good dancer. And like, he knows how to dance, both at the worship service and like our traditional Korea dance. Like he knows.
He can do it.
Yeah. And there was this mom, this last trip, when she saw Ben dancing, she came to me. She was like, Emmanuel, did Ben take some classes? Like, did he learn first how to do this? I was like, I have no idea. Maybe in the state he like watch on YouTube, but I know this is the first time for him like doing this like traditional dance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he does it so well.
He's been a dancer since he was a
more
little
than
boy.
me. He do it even more than me.
I don't know. You're a good dancer. But Ben's good too.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, he was even a dancer as a little boy.
Oh.
I remember him dancing in church musicals and stuff when he was a little boy. He's always been a good dancer.
Yeah, that is so cool. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. So the rumor mill says you're going to be getting married sometime in the future soon.
Yeah.
And so we want to say hello to Grace.
I will say hello to beautiful Grace. She's cute.
Well, that is wonderful that you think so.
Yeah.
Well, she is beautiful indeed.
She is.
She's beautiful inside and outside.
And I understand she's going to be a teacher.
Yes.
And I've married a teacher.
Wow.
So we need to talk.
Oh, we really need
so that you can be prepared for what you're going to have to go through.
That would be great.
So teachers get a little crazy at the first part of school and towards the end.
They get tired.
There's a lot to do.
There is a lot to do. And I have to learn how to cook for me to be helping her.
We need to come give you some barbecue lessons.
That is true.
You could probably be a hero with some West Tennessee barbecue down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he had for lunch. So he's full.
Yeah, it is like since I came here, I am full. Like every 10 minutes, it's like every 10 minutes there is something to eat.
Emmanuel, we went to lunch with him the other day, and Andrew and I were telling him, and Mr. Troy was with us, and we're talking about how even so many of our poor people are overweight here. And that we all really just eat a lot. That's kind of our love language, I think, is food. So
food, yeah.
Yeah, and Emmanuel has participated well in that. He ate almost an entire apple pie in 2.5 days.
Oh, yes. Like every morning and some evenings, I remember that. I had to take an apple pie. So I'm like, Mama Daphne bought like the whole of this apple pie for maybe herself and Nancy, but
no,
the kind
it was
like
for you.
That is, I consumed it all.
So is apple pie your favorite thing that you've tried since you've been to the States? What are the states have you tried new that was one of your favorite, or give me a couple of favorite things?
Yeah. So the foods that I have tried and very yummy I have tried Mama Daphne's apple pie. I have tried some Mexican food, chimichanga.
Yeah.
Chimichanga. Burrito.
Yeah.
Burrito. Guacamole. What else? Waffle.
Waffle. Okay.
It took about an hour and a half to teach him how to say that.
Waffle.
Yes. And then I had pancakes, scrambled eggs. We do have scrambled eggs, but I came to realize that scrambled eggs, like eggs here, are too yellow than
They're
our
very
eggs.
yellow,
Yeah,
yes.
they're very yellow than our eggs in Tarime.
No,
And-
the eggs with the chicken project are that yellow.
Yeah. The last time the mission team came, we did not have the eggs at our chicken project because the chickens were still young.
Yeah.
So we had to buy some eggs from town. They
And
were not good.
They were not as yellow.
They were not yellow. So another thing is bacon.
Bacon. Bacon this morning.
Yeah. That is so yummy.
Yeah, bacon. You can put bacon on anything. Ice cream, it doesn't matter. It's bacon ice cream is good. Anything with bacon is good.
That is so yummy. Like I have eaten a lot.
Yeah. It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of good
And
food.
like this noon, we had barbecue at Mama Debbie's Ferguson's house. That is so, yeah. I think I'm really going to miss ice water when I go back to Tarime.
Yeah, he's discovered ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ice water probably
Ice
is your
water.
favorite thing. I think Anna fell in love with the ice water as well. And I don't know. I think if I have any addictions, it's to ice. I love to just crunch ice. That's good stuff. So you are here, and I've talked about this a little bit, but you've come in, it's Halloween time here. So what did you think about coming and seeing all these pumpkins with faces painted or cut into them and these monster ghosts and things in people's yards? And I always wonder sometimes what people think about this, the celebration of All Hallows Eve.
And like I have tried to ask several people here, like what does Halloween mean? Like I haven't got an answer actually. And like it is really strange. Like I have seen even like skeletons. I have seen people like at their doors making something like cemetery. Like a cemetery. And like funny thing about pumpkins is that I went to this like pumpkin field, something, how do we call
like a pumpkin farm.
Yes, like
Patch or something.
yeah, like a pumpkin punch. Like it is a place where they have just put pumpkins, and I took a picture and just put I posted that picture on Facebook and on WhatsApp status. So they were like my folks, like my fellow students and like the people back home, the ones that have smartphones, have kept on asking me, like, are these pumpkin toys or are they really pumpkins? And I tell them they are really pumpkins. And like they go for decorations, like they are just outside. I was like, here they are used for decorations. Back home, that is food.
That's good food.
Good food. Good food.
It is funny. In youth ministry, we grow up playing a lot of games with food. And when I started traveling around different parts of the world doing mission work and stuff, I started to get really convicted about how we play with our food, where other people would love to have what we play with. So we kind of cut back on doing the food games. There's a few, like with marshmallows. Marshmallows really aren't healthy for anybody, but so we'll do some of that. But yeah, it's interesting what we do with food.
So all of our customs and all of our practices here in the United States, Emmanuel, are also not healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's one thing that our two countries have in common. You know, we both have some transformation and some changes to take place, or that should take place.
Yeah, because Halloween comes from what's called All Hallows Eve, and people would dress up to scare the bad spirits away before what is called All Saints Day on November 1st. And so, So yeah, very, very, very old tradition. It started in Europe and made its way to the United States as people moved over. And
some of us choose not to pay too much attention to it.
Yeah. And now it's grown into this, people spend almost as much for Halloween as they do for Christmas. And Christmas is the birth of Jesus.
It's the birth of Jesus.
And it's really
very important day. Very important Christmas.
Yes.
Easter.
So-
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Very.
And so now we have Halloween that we all celebrate, people do. And then there's Thanksgiving in November and then Christmas. And they're all smashed together. So you have one long holiday season now.
And what is Thanksgiving about?
Thanksgiving is about being grateful and giving thanks out loud and gathering your family together for a huge meal. But it's just to be thankful for all the things we have. And instead of doing that daily like we should do, there's one special day of the year in November. It's the next to last Thursday in November where we stop as a country and give thanks for all the bounty of food that we have. Is really
That is so nice.
and family and time together.
And
So.
we usually eat turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
You have turkeys.
I have turkeys. Oh, yeah.
But do you eat your turkeys?
So actually, I just started growing them, like keeping them this year. And actually, I don't even know how to prepare a turkey for food.
It's quite a mess, really. Now, turkey eggs are really good. Do your turkeys lay eggs?
Yeah, actually,
They're really
I left
good.
like there were 2 female turkeys that they were laying, and I left like 30 eggs
Oh, wow.
being laid. So
Next time you can bring those to me. I love
You can
turkey
come.
eggs. They're really good. So
great.
they're really good. What have been some of your thoughts about the United States and stuff since you've been here? Besides the cleanliness and stuff, what about the people and
Yeah.
things?
Like what I really feel is that people here are so kind.
Yeah.
Very, very kind, very welcoming, very welcoming. Like I just arrived last night on Monday, the night of Monday, and like Mama Daphne and Lori and Kerry came to pick me at the airport. And then I came to Mama Daphne's house. But the rest of the days has been meeting people being around me, people talking to me, people hugging me, people feeding me. Like it has just been incredible. Yeah. And with that, I can make a little bit of comment about traveling to America and traveling to Africa. One of the things that I have come to realize is that the news really lie. Like the news is really lying. So for sometimes I have heard like this news that maybe America is a dangerous place for maybe black people. Like, hey, when you come from Africa and you go to America, you'll be mistreated because you are black. And there are people, I even know them, that they think that coming to America, they will be mistreated because they are black. Yeah. But it is not that way. I have also heard people saying like coming to Africa, that place is dangerous. There is, I know there are diseases. There is malaria, but the news really lie. Even the kind of poverty that is shown on the news about Africa, sometimes I say that is exaggeration.
Yes.
Yeah, like the poverty that is shown on the TVs about Africa, sometimes it is exaggeration. Yeah,
you're right.
So the news really, we should not rely on the news to learn more about Africa or to learn more about America.
That is true.
If you get an opportunity to visit, I encourage even like my fellow students back home, if you have an opportunity to visit, go and learn something new. If you have an opportunity to visit Africa, come and visit. It is safe.
And God wants us to know, to realize that people are people everywhere. It doesn't matter where you live. We're all the same.
Yeah.
We have the same struggles. We have the same joys. No one is any better than anyone else. We are all equal in God's eyes, and we should be in each other's eyes as well.
That is true. And one of the strange things that happened, there was this, I don't know which city happened, like there was a black American who was killed, something like that. There was a very huge news. There was like a black American who was killed. So all of this like back home was like, do you see like what is happening in America? But I was like, no. And there was this big movement in America that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
For me, I don't see that way. It is all lives matter.
Yeah.
It is all lives matter.
Yeah.
All lives matter.
So talking about going back and forth, us coming to Africa and Africa coming to here, what does it mean when the teams come?
For us, when the teams come, for us, we take it like creating of relationship, more of knowing each other and more of learning from each other, growing like supporting each other to grow. Like when mission teams come to Gamasara, like they pray with us.
Oh, yeah.
They encourage us.
Yeah.
They give us new knowledge that we were not aware of. And like they even like our kids, they get even to play with some like the mission teams, they play with the mission team. You see like, and when kids go back home, you have seen this happening in Gamasara, like the elementary school. Like when mission teams come, they play. When they go back to their families, they say, hey, mom, hey, dad, or to their siblings. Like our school is the school that welcomes visitors. Today we had visitors from America. They hugged us, they played with us, they sang with us. So it is the way of like growing together, supporting each other. Not about funds. I know like we get a lot of funds from Northside, but besides money, like this mutual relationship, spending time together, learning from each other, supporting each other, it is just incredible. It is amazing.
So the Mzungas, is that right?
Yeah, Mzungu.
Mzungu.
Yeah. Mzungu.
Mzungu. So see, that's pretty good. I've remembered those words from even this summer.
Well, you kind of butchered it, but
well,
that's okay.
I remembered it's at least in the ballpark. That's pretty good for me. So being from Texas, I can barely speak English, so it's pretty hard. So hey, we like to ask all of our guests that when we think about it, and the guys aren't here to help me, but what's your favorite Bible verse?
My favorite Bible verse is it is Philippians chapter 4 verse 6. I think it says, "Do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything." Yeah.
What about your favorite Bible character? Who in the Bible do you?
Nehemiah. Yeah, okay. Nehemiah is my best Bible character.
Why?
Like when I see my village, I see my village like Jerusalem. When Nehemiah saw the walls are fallen and like the doors are burnt, and God is telling him, Nehemiah, you have to go and build the walls of Jerusalem. So I just see myself as Nehemiah. That is my best character.
Wow.
That I have to go back and build my village. And solve the challenges of my village. And even when Nehemiah heard like what the people of Jerusalem are going through, like he cried for his people. And he was ready to go. Regardless, he had no big position. He was just a servant of a king. He went. So, and it really encourages me. The Bible does not say Nehemiah was an officer or somebody high in the government. He was just king's servant. But he went. So we can bring a difference no matter who we are, regardless of positions.
Amen. You've gone to preaching now.
You have.
See, I told you were a preacher.
So what about your favorite book in the Bible?
My favorite book in the Bible is the book of Joshua.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, we are so glad that you've been here with us, Emmanuel. We've been so excited to have you come and to have you be here. I don't think you realize how excited we were to have you come be a part of us here in the United States. It is always fun to go be with you in Africa as well, but it's been a very special time for us to have you here. And hopefully the next time you come, you can bring grace.
I hope so. It will be great. And I'm just thankful for the people of Jackson, Tennessee, for their warm welcome and for having me here. Just as I said from the beginning, I feel like I am home. When I'm around with Northside people. Like this is my family.
Well, both my wife, Barbie, and my daughter, Summer, came to and they said, Dad, Emmanuel knew like so much about us. Of course, y'all been friends on Facebook, but he was asking about our family and about my friends and all. And I said, that's the difference in a lot of ways that I see. And it's not 100% because there's a lot of people here who care so much about our families and us as people. But in Africa, it seems like y'all make that an art of really caring for people beyond just the, hey, how you doing? You okay? You good? You really get into understanding the person and following them. And
people came to see me, for me to even say hi to them, even the ones that they never come to Africa.
Yeah.
They came at Lori's house.
Yeah.
They came last night just to listen to me, like, who am I?
Well, you're Nehemiah. So there we go.
Yeah.
So, Emmanuel, thank you. And safe travels on the rest of your time in the United States. You go back to Africa November 5th? 3rd. November 3rd.
Yes.
So we're blessed to have you here, and we will see you again, probably in Africa, but we'll see you again soon.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Such a good conversation and such a awesome human being. I had the pleasure to talk with Emmanuel a couple of times, and my wife and daughter, of course, had visited Gamasara. And someday I will get there as well and get to see him in person, and look forward to that. Hey, hopefully you've enjoyed that conversation, and we want to have so many more just like that. So if you have an idea, something we can talk about, why don't you email that in to us? We'd love to have ideas and hear from you. Is this podcast making a difference in your daily life? Hopefully so. We want to stay connected with you and let you know what's going on here at Northside Church. So a few weeks ago, Patrick ran down all of the events from pretty much here until Christmas, I think. So let's go back and recap some of that. So Patrick, what's coming up?
Well, we got coming up really quickly our Fall Fest on October the 29th. That's going to be from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And again, we're not calling it Trunk or Treat. We're calling it Fall Fest.
Okay.
Because it is going to be more than just Trunk or Treat. It will include trunk or treating, but there's going to be a lot more. So Stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. Then coming up in November 5th is going to be All Saints Sunday. November 14th, we're going to have Joy Group again. This time, John Button is going to be sharing some stuff from El Ayudante. Then on October the 19th, we're going to have Thanksgiving breakfast.
Oh, yeah. But not on October 19th.
Sorry, I meant November 19th.
It's favorite Sunday of the year.
Look, I'm just getting excited. It is my favorite Sunday of the year.
Can you believe we're talking about that, though?
I know.
Craziness.
Wow. November the 19th, Thanksgiving breakfast. We're going to have one service that Sunday morning in the sanctuary at 9 o'clock, and then we're going to all move down and have breakfast together in Hope Hall. So that's going to be a good time. And then on December the 3rd, we're getting into holiday schedule.
Wow.
December the 3rd, Jingle Jam.
Woohoo!
Yeah, put that on your calendar. I think we're going to, tentatively right now, that's set for 6 o'clock, but stay tuned for more info on that.
And I already have my stuff to wear. I am so pumped.
Yeah.
Wait for this one.
I'm excited. You do tend to bust out like some of the best.
I dress up more for Jingle Jam than I do for Halloween.
And then the next week, December the 10th, is most likely going to be the children's musical. Stay tuned for that. That's still kind of in the works, but go ahead and mark that on your calendar as potentially children's musical. And then December 12th, we got another Joy Group. This one's the Christmas luncheon featuring Jared Heldenbrand and the USJ Choir. So that'll be a good time. Here's some Christmas singing. And then on December the 16th, we're going to have the Christmas cantata at 7 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary. And then that's a Saturday evening. And then the next morning, Sunday morning, the 17th, is going to be another performance of the cantata at 10 a.m. It's just going to be one service that morning at 10 a.m., and Sunday school will be at 9 a.m. And then the next week, December 24th, it's Christmas Eve. We're going to just have one service in the morning at 10 a.m., and that's going to be in Hope Hall. And then we're going to have our regular Christmas Eve services at 5 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary. And then the next week, December the 31st, that is New Year's Eve. We are also just going to have one service that Sunday morning at 10 o'clock p.m. in the sanctuary, and there will be no Sunday school on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. So I think that's tentatively what I've got to the end of the year.
Wow, that's impressive.
Try to keep people as informed as far out as I can.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Well, guys, thanks for podcasting with me. And thanks to all of you out there in the world for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Northside Now Podcast. Go to our website, northsidejackson.com, or email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We hope to hear from you soon. Once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
I'm Kevin.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now. Bye-bye.